everyone, so today's video is going to be the slow readers book tag. I will put the link to the original video by the creator of this tag in the description. So thank you to the creator of this tag for making this tag, and I guess we'll just get right into the questions. So the first question is, what is your Goodreads goal for this year? And my Goodreads goal, just like last year, is 100 books. I'm currently at 80 books and it's only August, so I should be able to read 100 books this year. I know that 100 isn't a very low number, and because that number is quite high, you might think, why are you doing the slow readers book tag if you don't seem to be a slow reader? That is because about half of the books that I read are manga, and manga is a lot easier and faster to read. So I technically only read about 50 books a year if you don't count mangas. So yeah, I am doing this tag because I am a very slow reader, partially because I have dyslexia and because English isn't my native language and I read in English. So yeah, like, don't think that I'm doing this tag while not being a slow reader. I am a slow reader, just, I read manga as well, and that's faster to read. So yeah. The second question is, how many books do you read per month on average? And I didn't try calculating this to know the exact number, because I'm really bad at math, because I also have dyscalculia, which I don't know if I pronounced that right. But yeah, I also have that, so because of that, I didn't even try calculating it because I would do it completely wrong. But I think I read about 7 to 10 books. That's not including manga. Usually if I read manga during the month as well, I will reach about 15 to 17 books. So yeah, I don't know the exact number because again, I didn't calculate it. But yeah, I read about 7 to 10 books a month. Then the third question is, how many days does it typically take you to read a book? And to me, that really depends on the genre that I read. So the amount of days that it takes me to read a book, it varies a lot. It can take me either 3 days if I'm really into the book and it's a contemporary. It can take me 3 days. If it's a fantasy book, it can take me 3 months. It really depends on what kind of book it is and whether I'm really into it. So yeah, I don't really have a set answer to this, but I would say on average it's about a week per book, maybe a bit longer, because I also read multiple books at the same time. I think I'm currently reading 10 books at once. So yeah, because of that it varies, because I tend to take a long time to finish those 10 books, but once I finish them, it's all at once. I finish all 10 of them in one day. And so, yeah, it really depends on what kind of book it is. I'm gonna make that the answer to this question, because otherwise I'm gonna keep ranting. Then the fourth question is, are you always reading or do you take breaks in between books? I definitely take breaks in between reading. For example, today I didn't read anything, and yesterday I finished a book and a manga. So yeah, I definitely take breaks between reading, especially also because of my health. Because some days my brain just doesn't want to focus on a book and I do something else, like rewatching TV shows. Because I don't think I've mentioned this on my YouTube channel, but I've definitely mentioned it on Twitter, that I have a really hard time watching movies and TV shows because I don't like the anxiety of not knowing what's gonna happen. And I have the same thing with books, but with books it's a bit easier because I can control how much I read and whether I want to continue. Whereas with a TV show, I feel like I have to finish an episode and then I force myself to finish it and then I'm anxious and it's just not a good time. So usually in the days in between reading, I usually rewatch things. For example, right now I'm rewatching What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. It's a Korean drama. I think I've rewatched it 4 times. To answer this question, I definitely take breaks in between, mostly because of my health, but also just because I don't want to put myself in a reading slump. So yeah, let's just get into the next question. The fifth question is, what book took you particularly long to read? And I've been trying to say the word particularly for like 2 minutes now, and I cannot pronounce it, so just ignore how horrible my pronunciation was for that word. Just ignore it. So yeah, to answer this question, a book that took me quite long to read, usually they're always fantasy books, because fantasy is just a genre that I struggle to read. But specifically, a book that I struggled with a lot was A Gathering of Shadows. I kind of struggled with all of these books in this series, again because it's a fantasy series and I almost never read those. So yeah, I struggled with this a lot. I'm still currently reading the third book, and I kind of say reading because I don't think I've read a page in that book in like 3 months. So I don't think I'm reading it anymore, but I will finish it someday. I will. I'm determined to finish it. Then the next question is, do big books intimidate you because you know that you'll be spending a lot of time with them? And the answer to that is yes. I have quite a few big books on my shelf. Maybe you can see some of them, but I don't think I've read a single one of them because they intimidate me so much. A particular book that I'm very intimidated by is The Priory of the Orange Tree. You can actually probably see it on my bookshelf. But yeah, that's a book that really intimidates me because it's a fantasy book and it's like over like 800 pages, I think. So yeah, those are both things that I'm very intimidated by. And so I know that it will take me a very long time to read this book probably, unless I'm really into it. But yeah, if I'm not that into it, it will probably take me a long time to read it, and I'm not looking forward to that. But I do really want to read it someday because I'm curious whether I will like it or not. Because sometimes, no matter how long I spend reading a fantasy book, I will end up really liking it. It just takes me a long time. So yeah, I'm excited to see whether I like The Priory of the Orange Tree, but I'm definitely not reading it this year, maybe next year. The next question is, what are some books that you read in one day? Now, I genuinely cannot remember the last time that I read a book in one day. I must have done it when I was like younger, but I don't think I've done it in like the last couple years. So I genuinely don't remember. I know for a fact that I do read contemporary books a lot faster than I read any other genre. So I've probably read like a contemporary book in like 3 days, but that's not particularly fast. So yeah, I do read most mangas that I read in one day. So yeah, I guess an answer to this question is like every single manga I've ever read. Then question number 8 is, what genre takes you the longest to read? That question for some reason was extremely difficult to remember. Like I could not remember it. Anytime I looked up from the paper that I wrote the questions on, every time I looked up from it, I forgot it. So yeah, those 2 minutes are going to be real fun to edit out. So the genre, obviously, that takes me very long to read is fantasy. I've talked about this already a couple times in this video. Fantasy just takes me very long because, you know, of the world building and the amount of new information that I need to remember. And as I just showed by me constantly forgetting that question, you can tell that my memory isn't the best. So yeah, the answer is fantasy. So the next question is, what is a book that you regret reading because you spent so much time with it and you got so little payoff? So meaning you didn't like it that much. And for me, that is Carry On. I decided to read Carry On first instead of Fangirl because I tried reading Fangirl like 20 times and I just couldn't read it because it just didn't interest me, because it was just boring to me. So I tried reading Carry On. I did finish it and it took me a very long time. And the second I put the book down, I could not remember a single thing that happened. Like I vaguely remember like a couple details, but like other than that, like everything else is completely gone. I feel like I definitely wasn't planning on buying any more books from this author because I didn't enjoy them. And then this author did some very questionable things. And I was like, well, now I'm definitely not going to buy any more books from them. So, yeah. No more of this author's books for me. Then the last question is, recommend fellow slow readers a book that will be easy to read. I'm going to be recommending 2 books. You probably already know one of the books that I'm going to mention, maybe not the second one, but you definitely know what book I'm going to mention first, and that is of course A Kind of Spark. This book I'm pretty sure is a middle grade book, and it's quite short, so it's very fast to get through, and it's also a very informational read if you're like interested in like what's it like to be an autistic girl, then read it, I guess. The second book that I'm gonna mention is for once not Felix Ever After, because I feel like that book is quite big and it would intimidate a slow reader a bit, and intimidated me when I first got it. So I'm gonna recommend Two Boys Kissing instead. That book is quite short and it's quite a heavy book, but it is still a very fast read. I feel like you kind of like fly through the pages, even though the subject is very intense. So those are the 2 books that I will be recommending, A Kind of Spark and Two Boys Kissing. I have a couple more like recommendations for slow readers, but this question only said to name 1 book and I already named 2, so I'm not gonna name any more. Maybe one day I'll do like a video about like very short, fast books. So those were all of the questions in the slow readers tag. Again, I know that by some of the things that I said in this video, by for example me saying that I read 100 books a year, that you might go, you're not a slow reader. Again, I am. It's just because I read a lot of manga that it seems like I read a lot of books. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you will consider checking out the original video for this tag made by the creator. Yeah, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is kind of like the second video I'm filming with this background, so I'm still getting used to it. I still don't know quite where to sit. So yeah, sorry if not everything is like centered in this video, because I feel like because everything is so even, I feel like centering the video is a bit difficult. But yeah, I'm gonna end this video here. Like I already said, thank you for watching and bye.